So, hi everyone, it's George, former banker, currently a business development manager, and most importantly, a wine enthusiast. So today I'll be talking to you about two things. One, I will share with you my dream and the steps towards it. Second, some tips. So my passion came most probably from my great-grandfather, who was a famous winemaker in Western Georgia. This is his house, and actually his wine cellar was bigger than the house, which is very unusual at that time. I have a dream. I want to create a small heaven for myself and people that I love. Natural vineyard, a beautiful wine cellar and a house, produce high quality natural wine and share it with others in Georgia and the rest of the world. That's the dream. It all started about 15 years ago when I started appreciating natural wines. I have tried so many of them, and then it's still going on. By the way, what is natural wines? Is the wines that are made with minimal or no intervention at all to keep it as natural as possible. During these tastings, at some point, I put it in my mind that one day I will be producing my own wine. Several years passed, I tried more and more wines. By the way, wine tasting is a journey, and then probably it's not gonna end. So it's like a lifetime journey. 2020, me and my uncle made a decision to make the first step and then start producing our own wines. And there were several things. We needed some equipment, we needed grapes, and we actually needed the way how to create wine. So we read some books. And then the experimenting started. We started with different grapes from different regions, different methods, like with skin contact, without skin contact. But we always knew one thing, that wines that we produce should be natural, like with minimal intervention or no, not at all. One day I told this story to my friend who owns a wine shop in Old Tbilisi, and I suddenly realized that my wine getting to the shelf of a nice wine shop is something was beginning really seriously. Now we needed a name. So I wanted to do it myself. I grabbed an 18th century Georgian dictionary and started looking for a cool name. So I stopped at Ishta, which literally means appetite or craving for something. I really like this word. Now we needed a logo. I went to my niece, who was a junior designer back then. We sat down, we decided that we wanted to have a bird. And a few days after, we got a drunk bird as a logo. Why bird? Because it's a symbol of freedom. And why drunk? Because my bird is different. Then something amazing happened. We were invited to a jazz and wine festival, very famous one, where young winemakers are sharing their wine. By the way, we've been invited 3 years in a row, which means that something is going really right. Now, the first tip, try to avoid supermarket and mass production wines, because the biggest difference you will feel is the next morning, because usually they contain a lot of sulfites in order to preserve on the shelves for a long period of time. On the contrary, choose smaller wineries. There is a bigger chance to try something different and unique. By the way, I have this unwritten rule that I always try new wines when I go out. So be open to trying new wines. They're not always perfect, but you might discover something very interesting for you. Talk to these people. They know wine. Try to get information about the winery, about the winemaker. Ask them to recommend you something special. By the way, ask if you can try the wines, because most of the winemakers give free samples for them to give it to their customers. Ask questions. Find out information about the grapes, which region was it grown, what are the grapes from specific region known for. Grapes can be considered as human beings, guys. The region where they are coming from might be hiding something very unique that you might enjoy. Try to attend meetings and degustations with winemakers. You will personally meet them, have a chance to ask questions and get to know the person who gave life to this specific wine. You have to believe me, it's a complete different experience when you know a winemaker personally and he or she opens their hearts to you. It's something really nice. Visit wineries. This is even a better way of getting closer to winemaker, and actually the place that it was created. Small wine cellars and vineyards have something mystic to them, something amazing that I believe is transferred to the wine. It's amazing. Now, important step towards my dream. Last year, I bought a piece of land close to my great-grandfather's ancestral land. So this is actually the house and old qvevris. Whoever doesn't know, qvevri is a vessel for producing wine. And by the way, qvevris and house will be restored and given a new life. Have you asked yourself what makes you happy? By the way, the other day, my youngest 11-year-old son asked me, what would I do if I won $1 million? And I did not even blink, and I said I would go further, develop my dream, and build winery on our land. He was a bit skeptical. So happiness to me, guys, is a combination of happy moments. I think the most happy moments I had in any job is in winemaking. I love sharing my wine with people and see the sparkles in their eyes. It really gives me goosebumps. So thanks a lot, guys.
So teams, still and again, and I know all of us have heard a lot about teams, and but it's still there. It's still important in our life. And I will concentrate on my presentation on work-related teams. So we have all worked on teams. Sometimes we manage to lead a team, and it's always some kind of learning curve because we go there with confidence that we can do things. And I love this term from this presentation, the Mount of Stupidity. So I want to tell my story, and I have to make it quicker. When I became a director from 5 people teams, I suddenly found myself with a staff of 133 civil servants. And I really had to think, how do I manage this organization? Do I make all of the decisions, or do I delegate down the responsibility? And the second challenge that was really important to me was, next slide, please. Do I spend a lot of time distributing tasks, designing them, or do I unite the team all around the goals and let them think about best tools? Because they have the knowledge, they have the practice of doing stuff. And most importantly, part of the people management was, as a director, do I deal with every personal problem or conflict, or I try to build the support network? Because especially in civil service, if any of you had any experience, everybody looks up to the director to do all of this. So I realized that I had to change the culture within the organization and not wait for the climate, not wait for the good weather. And I had to spend a lot of time thinking and learning how to deal with changing culture. So relatively easiest part is to change behavior, which then changes attitudes, then changes relationships, changes values, and the group becomes a team that starts performing. And it took me more than 18 months to go through that. And we did it. We did it, and the main 3 things that really helped me was I had open communication. I always told people what I was planning, thinking. I was fair and really paid attention to that no is a no, yes is a yes, and persistence. So with all of that effort, from me and later from the team, I helped myself. And I kind of started feeling confident that I could start helping other people to do it. But of course, I had a question, could that be done more effectively? And at some point, 3 years ago, I joined Teamboat, which is a first private company that I have worked in, and the first place where I had to deal with companies and not just NGOs and small or international organizations. So what we do, we help groups become a team and help them become a high-performing team. Even in this environment, like PechaKucha is about team. So team is important everywhere. When I looked at the big picture, there were more challenges, like systems are less bureaucratic, more action-oriented, loose structures, still dysfunctional. But something new came into my radar screen. Retention became an issue and profit became a goal that affects the teams in private sector. So I got on my learning curve and started putting all of my experience into like backing up all of my experience with a lot of theoretical knowledge that is all around the world. And what we do now and really concentrate recently within our portfolio is we assess climate and really work with organizations to change the climate and therefore change the culture within the organization. What kind of climates are there? It's people, goals, rules, and innovation oriented, but you cannot have one. It has to be all of them a little bit, and it's up to you as a leader of any team to balance it. You have to navigate through all of these processes. You have to be people-oriented as well as goal-oriented, as well as be innovative and have the rules for everybody to understand what you're doing and drive people towards success. Things change all the time, everywhere. Like recently it was COVID and a lot of political issues that affect you, but balance is the key, because with every innovation, i.e., for example, AI, for example, you have to change rules, make new goals, and help people adapt. So as Ketty, I am in a team, and it's a great team, a Teamboat team, and we are really high on the slope of enlightenment. And this is my offer to share my knowledge and all of the navigation tools that we acquired. So it's all about teams, always, everywhere. And I just want to thank you guys for your attention and hope it was something interesting to hear. So thank you very much.
So first of all, please raise your physical hand who is familiar with the cartoon Family Guy.
Are you ready? Yeah, I'm turning up.
So I will demonstrate it if you are not. So do you have the same level of patience as Mother Louise had when kid was desperately calling her? So it is like mom, mom, mommy, 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 mom, and mother is saying what? He says hi. So hello again. My name is Nini Eliashvili, and today I would like to talk you through my insights about, let's say, 5 skills, 5 qualities I have developed during my career as a working as a mom of 2 kids, beautiful daughters, and which actually was translated into my business life. It's nothing new. It's something that you know, but for me, it has more depth inside. So in other part of my life, as Dina mentioned, I'm a personal business development mentor, running motivational marathons for women, and this boutique consultancy company. So basically, for me, the aim was to find the balance between being a good mom and being the good leader of the business. So slides are not going, or I'm very quick. So basically, if you need business process strategies, grant hunting, fundraising, or motivating your staff, you can call me Louis, not mother. Now straight to the disclaimer. Actually, in that photo, when I'm serious, because I'm thinking. So now straight to the disclaimer. None of these skills, what I want to share, will ever work for me personally if I'm not on my, if I'm out of my resources, meaning emotional, physical, and mental resources. As Marshall Rosenberg, the father of non-violent communication, once wisely said, every moment each human being is doing the best we know at the moment to meet our needs. So firstly, for me, this sentence means that I have acted at my very best at any situation. I made the best decisions and best actions I could at each moment of my life. So, wow, what a level of self-acceptance, right? So, garas plech. So I dropped off the weight from my shoulders. And secondly, our actions are based on our inner, let's say, needs. So therefore, the lesson learned for me, first of all, is that how to manage my inner Hulk and transform it into the Hulk concept. So it's essential to tend to our basic needs and needs first. So if I'm hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, you won't catch me to diving into any communication or negotiation, whether with a client or with a kid. Trust me, it's the recipe for disaster if inner Hulk comes out to play in this situation. Now, let's dive into these 5 skills. But first of all, in the IE era, I turned ChatGPT and asked to write a script for this presentation, and the response was, Dina is watching. Then I asked 2 other question, what are the 5 skills of business consultant for effective work with the company? So the results turned out that from ChatGPT, 3 out of 5, it's around the communication. So basically, it's, whether it's problem solving, effective communication, interpersonal skills, or what, it's all about communication. First of all, it's communication with yourself and then communication with others. Well, I became good at that because my master senseis names are Natalie and Lily. And for me with them, it was all about verbal, and very important part was nonverbal communication. But let's go down into this nitty-gritty part. And the burning question was for me, what is actually the purpose for me working with the clients? So find the tailored solutions to their specific needs and ensure that everyone, this matchmaking was okay. So the top 5 skills I have mastered was true listening, exploration, vulnerability, intention, and playfulness. So about, let's say, listening. Our mind is constantly racing during the communication, filled with the questions, what he wants, how can I help, what are the best response, and what is wrong or right. So this mental chatter, we often fail really truly listening because we listen to response, not to understand sometimes. So it's really a gift. So, actually, I myself struggled with that because I was like halfway through a sentence, I was interrupting, etc. And then I decided to learn how to explore. It's like really like to call, we can call it like art of asking questions, open questions, not jumping into the conclusions. So the next part is vulnerability. For me, it's very essential. It's like really opening heart to heart, being honest to yourself and to others. Like when you want to say yes, when you want to say no, to no, meaning that sometimes I just intentionally, like automatically were saying yes to some projects, and now when I am true to myself, now I'm just rejecting it. I set intention to the relationship, and a very important question for me is, what do you want to create in this relationship? Whether it is your child or whether it's your client, it's trust, is it connection, it is growth, and I am connected to that concept when I am communicating with them. So this is the focus for me. And at some point, I learned that the joy was missing in my life. And if it is missing in my personal life, for instance, with the kids, it was as well missing in my work domain. So I learned to be very serious, very professional, and I really well played this role. But as soon as I included playfulness in my life, then curiosity took over curiosity. So client became opener, relaxed, trusted, and close to me. So basically, you can see the picture of being playful with my child, really allowing her to go with my shoes outside the house. So, and be curious about what life can give us, because life is a journey and we are playing here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, my presentation is about central bank digital currency. And the reason that I decided to do this presentation is that I'm currently engaged in diagnostic study of this area to identify the legal reform that will be required to enable CBDC in general. The objective was to raise the awareness on this area because this is something that all central banks around the world are pursuing or exploring and studying because it's basically the future. And also introduce Georgian Digital Lari project because our government and central bank specifically is trying or planning to do this. Why am I fitting for this presentation? Because I do have a policy background and I'm specifically engaged in diagnostic studies, and I was always fascinated with the inner workings of the money, which is a very complex system, and a lot is behind what we know on its face and in practice when dealing with the money. Now, probably most of you know that the central bank money is the money that only sits on deposits with the central bank, and it's cash which is circulating in the economy in general. So we only deal with the central bank money when we pay cash. Other than that, all the money that we interact with is basically private money, which is produced by the commercial banks, and it's really not the real money. It's money generated through the commercial banks, and it's a money that is a result of the multiplier effect of issuing the loans by the banks. You probably have heard about the fractional reserve banking, which means that the commercial banks reserve the money when you deposit, but the rest is basically created money. Now, in parallel, what's going on in the world is decentralized finance, which means that there is a trend to disintermediate the financial system, and at some point, a lot of payments which will be taking place through the crypto ecosystem will be removing the centrality or central institutions from the payments. And this is the big battle that is coming. And this is one of the reasons why the central bank digital currency is very important, because it introduces the cash in electronic form. Now, in general, what operates through the crypto ecosystems are the digital currencies, and you all know the Bitcoins and Ethereum, virtual currencies, which take many different forms. So CBDC is one of the digital currencies that will attempt to enter this area. And it's important because it's the only digital representation of the cash as we know it. Now, CBDC is DLT based, so that's how it enters the crypto ecosystem. It's based on blockchain, but it's not considered a crypto because it's a fiat currency, basically. And it's issued and regulated by the central bank. So this implies that it's operating within a permission system. It's not an open public blockchain-based issuance. Okay, I'm too quick for my slide, Dina. Yeah, the CB. Wow, I missed my slide. Sorry. So the cash is basically the public good, while the money that we know, the banking money is private good, and the only interaction between the central bank and the cash, if you want to be to have it universally accessible, is CBDC. CBDC provides the value and a wider access. It also ensures atomic settlements in the future. That's the potential, which reduces the risks and requires less reconciliation and increases transparency. These are the benefits of the CBDC. Which provides the background for motivation to introduce it in Georgia as well. So our central bank, the National Bank of Georgia, launched the project in 2020, but this is a pilot project. It's still in the exploratory mode. We have a technical partner, Ripple, that is studying how this should be implemented technically. This will be an alternative to the cash and will be a direct claim on NBG, which means that it's NBG's liability, basically equivalent of the cash. But it will be based on two-tier model, mapping over the existing two-tier financial system, which means that the commercial banks will still be very important because they will be regulated and they will be servicing the transactions on retail level. Now, CBDC is normally programmable, which means you cannot use this cash, digital cash, for anything. This is how basically the regulator controls how and when it's used and delivers basically the policy decisions through this. It's a pre-programmed logic that determines which services and products you can apply the CBDC to. Georgia decided that it will go after the government securities, and these can be settled in CBDC in digital Lari. It's also looking into the real estate transactions, commemorative tokens, and payroll. They want to apply some of the CBDC to the payroll. And this is a result of programmability. They can control what it can be used for to the programmability. Now, there will be a tailored blockchain protocol created for Georgian digital Lari. And again, Ripple as a technical partner is engaged in developing this. It will be based on the distributed applications. You probably heard about dApps. These are the applications that enable transactions through the smart contracts, and that's probably also the term you've heard a lot. Now, what is a smart contract? It's a computer code. Basically, it's not a contract in a legal sense. It's a software that applies conditional logic, if and then, and it executes automatically, which means that it basically provides for default enforcement prior to, at the moment of the conclusion, basically, once the event materializes. Now, smart contracts, they themselves mimic the business agreement, but they're not legal contracts by default, and it's required to implement a very serious legal reform to enable their enforcement in the jurisdiction. What Georgian National Bank is considering is also creating tokens built on the existing blockchains, because tokens can express the real-world assets in the blockchain systems, and under the DGEL project, government bonds, real estate, and commemorative tokens that will be presented in the form of the token. And it's a very challenging project because it's intensive technically and intellectually. Very bank-centric environment, and I expect that there will be conflict of interest in the course of implementing the policy on this topic. Full money banking is very unlikely because the commercial banks will be involved. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Okay. So Gen Z is coming. They are 26, 27, becoming 27 this year. They're coming to the workplace. They're coming to CELA. They're coming to networks. They are in our families. So I decided to speak about the workplace needs and solutions. We do a lot of work, our training center, around this topic. So these guys are born between 1997 and 2011, and they're the digital natives, they say. They are the first generation who grew up with the technology, with the internet and everything, and that impacts a lot of what they do and how they are. So these people have grown up with devices, with the social media, with the ultimate connectivity, meaning technical connectivity, but at the same time, they're lacking social skills, are socially awkward. So this defines, a lot of this is defining their workplace needs and solutions that we need to find work. First thing is these people want flexible work. They don't want fixed start hours and ending hours. They want the remote and on-site work. They want flexible offices. They want flexible software systems, everything flexible, and the agile management. Another new thing is that they're open about the mental health. They're the first generation open about discussing the mental health needs. They have a lot of needs, but previous generations had a lot of needs, but were not open to discussing this in the office. So we need to be prepared for that. They are continuous learners. They are not up for the learning for all of their life. You have heard terms of bite-sized learnings, quick learners. They have short attention span. All the TikToks and YouTubes and everything is moving in that direction. And I believe academies will need to adapt. They are for diversity and inclusion, and diversity and inclusion stands for age, generation, religion, gender, ethnical, and all sorts of the inclusion and diversity. And that's very common with the previous generations, but they are farther into the thing, right? So the purposeful work is very important for these people. They are ready to work hard, but they need to find the purpose. They are not ready to follow instructions. They are ready to follow the purpose. So we will need to spend more time designing organizations around the purpose. They want the feedback, instant feedback and recognition. They're not ready to wait till the end of month or end of year actually to get recognized and to get feedback, daily feedback, and everyday performance indicators is what these people strive for. They want to collaborate. They are socially awkward, but at the same time, they want to collaborate. They love team projects. They love to have the proper setup within the company to allow them to cooperate effectively. So we need to think about making our environment and our systems effective for the collaboration. They are very innovative and they're very creative. They don't follow the rules. They are not the rule followers. They want to innovate within the work process, within the office, within the project. Agile management is what allows them to do that. Authentic leadership is the next thing. They want you to be open. They want you to be direct about your intentions, direct about the rules of the game, direct about the promotion scheme, direct about assessment, feedback, and everything. Right? And they are all about social responsibility. They want to work in the companies that are expressing and investing into the social responsibility, be it the political matters, be it the equality, be it the environment or other social matters. They want eco-conscious workspace, and they want eco-conscious companies. So we will need to spend more time thinking about how they see the company, how they see the programs in relation to the ecology consciousness. At the same time, they're the most pragmatic generation, and they want financial stability, and they want financial benefits, and they want to retire at 40. So they want to work hard. They want to earn real money while they are young. They are not up for the pension schemes. They're not up for the delayed gratification. They're very serious about the health and wellness, and they want to see companies actively support their mental health and their physical health within the workplace, and by giving them advice and giving them enough time and space to be healthy and well-being. Workspace is important aspect of the workspace is safety, physical and psychological safety. Bill talks a lot about the psychological safety. It became even more important than for the previous generations, and inclusion is also part of that psychological safety. They want peer connection. As I said, they are socially awkward. They need rules for the game. That's why they love board games, because it sets the context for the peer connection. It's not like go get your peers, go get your connections. It's here are the rules, here is the company helping you to do that. And they want transparent communications. They don't respect the hierarchy. They want less formality. They want direct communications. They want open feedback. They want to contribute to the company and to be able to communicate on all sorts, and all hands meetings, town hall meetings are the practices, right? So finally, there's a lot to learn for us, Gen Xers and Gen Yers, millennials. There's a lot to learn from and about Gen Z, and only through the fruitful cooperation, we can achieve long-term success in our organizations and in our programs. And thank you.
How to resolve conflicts peacefully and efficiently is, being for 20 years a mediator, the lawyer and law professor, and also being mediator for 10 years, I'm quite convinced and sure that the best way of resolving conflicts peacefully, efficiently, in short time, and still be happy is mediation. So mediation is giving you the opportunity to have the possibility communicating about the disputes in the peaceful environment, confidential, and also feel comfortable that the decision is not going to be made by third parties. So you as a party are making decision yourself. So why third party? Because the communication is a challenge. As Nini mentioned, all of us, we were mentioning, communication is a high risk that 75% of what we say will be received differently. So being misunderstood, there is 75% of it. So therefore, the ladder of assumption says that while having misunderstanding in communication, we do interpretations, we go up on the ladder of assumptions, and at some point we take actions based of our interpretations and the stories, but not the objective reality. So that leads us to the escalation of the conflict, which happens very quick sometimes. At the end, you'll see the lose-lose approach, which is the together to hell. The moment we start proving that I'm right and you are wrong, and I have to win and you have to lose, so we both or we all are in the hell. So most of the time, our instinct says that we resolve conflicts or problems by power, physically, or by power, having a power of decision, or we try to prove that I'm right, you are wrong. You have to lose, I have to win. So this is our first instinct, and we often forget that, for example, those sisters, the story about their orange that we all know, probably the sisters fighting over the orange, but at the end it appears that one needs a peel and another needs a juice. So why they could not find out in the peaceful way to communicate, negotiate, oh really, you want to need a peel and maybe I'll get the juice? Because that's the challenge, that whenever we are into the right-wrong conversation, so we cannot really ask proper questions, as Nini was mentioning. What's really what you need? What's really important for you? Can we find a solution that could work for both of us? So we miss that needs analysis, and in that we are into the proving right and wrong and proving our position. So who is mediator? Mediator is the third person who is having qualifications, who is having a peace of mind and some qualities, especially the main quality is listening, asking questions, understanding, and you choose the mediator. So what mediator does, actually, mediator helps parties in dispute or people, organizations to listen and understand, to listen to each other, and instead of responding, fighting back or arguing, to help them by managing the process so they really understand what's important for both of them. So there is a very good says that when we listen, people talk. And this listening is really the deep listening, when we listen not only to what was said, but to also what was not said. And also we listen to nonverbal, as it was mentioned before, and not go into the fighting, defending, responding mode. Yeah, so what mediator does, so ask the question, so can you see the horse in this picture? and here is the horse. So there are two perspectives. So one is the frog and others is the horse, and they are arguing like who is right and who is wrong. The same is like with the number 9 or 6. The 6, the mediator is in between, and the mediator can see both of the numbers. So therefore, the mediator helps the parties in the dispute to see both numbers and see that maybe there is a possibility that there are both having their own truth, which is very important to see this perspective. In that, mediator is helping to connect dots, to check assumptions, and to let the participants see each other's perspective, to change the perspective, let them better understand so they can put the puzzle together. And in that, it was also mentioned in previous presentations that exploration is very important. So asking questions, understanding needs of the participants, emotions, assumptions, and concerns, that's the key. What we do as mediators to help the participants really understand each other. And sometimes they have position, like position is what they say. For example, I have to have an orange. This is my orange, and I have to win it. I need to win it. But in the reality, the needs and interests might be the fairness or equality, or maybe there is something behind, and that's very important. So they start talking about it. And in mediation, mediator, as mediator, I allow parties to exchange their offers or their understandings in safe environment, not only in a joint meeting, but in the separate meetings. And in separate meetings, sometimes parties can share openly what's their bottom line and what they could agree on. So they easily can share their options and generate options. So that's the mediation session of mine, which is like one of the learning videos that we took. Actually, mediation makes me happy because I see the transformation of participants starting from being fighting and being very much into the negative mode, ending like happy, win-win, and really moving forward, and then feeling that their next day will be much better without having this heavy burden that they should carry on. So that's what makes me happy, and I hope that you could see that.